You're watching and listening to the latest Red and Blue review show. For all your Crystal Palace related chat, please like and subscribe across all the usual social media platforms, especially our YouTube channel. This really helps us out. Now, let's get on with the show.
3 points again! 3 points again! 3 points again! Hey!
3 points again, ole, ole. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a very warm welcome to yet another Red and Blue review. My God, how many years have we been doing this? Well, maybe one of my illustrious panel is going to tell me in a minute when he joins us. We're going to be covering off the Spurs game from the other night. Fantastic performance at, hello, some weirdos just turned up. So we'll be covering off Thursday night's game over at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Before I do that, Uncle Fester, his twin brother, have turned up. Let's start off with Ian Lyons. Good evening, Ian.
Evening.
Mate, how many years have we been doing this? You've been involved.
Blimey. Well, I did the interviews with Jim, Eddie, Paul, Ramage. That was back in COVID days, so
long before that.
At least 6, maybe going on 8.
I reckon the last number is probably closer to the mark. Tim Fab Richards. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again.
And Tim will be keeping his eye on in the chat. So you got any questions, aim them straight at Tim, and he'll bring them up during the course of the next hour. And Paul Gear. Excuse me, Paul Gear. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Evening, Nick. Evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm very good. It's been a good week for me. I have a lot of Tottenham friends and colleagues, so I've had a nice gloating few days.
And we'll get to all that later on. And we'll also be getting to the fact that some of the social media this week has been brutal about Tottenham. And it's just been, I don't know if any of you spent any time online, but I've had a couple of spare hours over today, and it's just been joyous. But we'll get to all that later on. I want to kick off with a couple of bits and pieces. We're going to do something slightly unusual to start with, because I've had a long conversation this afternoon on the phone with Grant Saunders. You'll all know Grant. He's on our other page, the Eagles That Have Landed page. And we were talking, and I posed him the question that he is now put into on his page. He's put a poll up in response to my question that I set earlier on. Let's assume that Leeds will get away with it. Who do you want to go down? Who do you want to go down? Was my question to Grant. And Grant came back with, it'd be funny if West Ham go down. Really and truly, everybody is going to be, the comedy value will be Spurs, seeing that empty stadium with Lincoln City coming to their home ground and that sort of stuff. And I said, out of the three of them, I really want Forest to go for obvious reasons, Fat Marinakis and all the rest of it. But it's not about me. I posed the question. Grant's created the poll. And as you can see, and for the benefit of those listening back on tomorrow's podcast, this is a live screenshot of exactly where the votes are landing, literally just before we went on air, about 2 minutes to 8. West Ham are currently sitting on 8%. The viewers want West Ham to go, 8% of you. 29%, and I really want to influence that number, only 29% of the viewers want Forest to go, and 63% want Spurs to go. Now, I would like to influence that figure if I can, but I'm going to start off with the three in front of me. Boys, if out of those three, assuming Leeds are safe or safer than the other two, and I know they're not, we'll start off with you, Lindsay. Out of those three, who would you sooner go?
Spurs, but I think the way things are going at the minute, it is likely to be the order of Spurs, Forest, and then Spam. So, listen, any permutation out of those three, I think will do me. But Spurs, definitely.
Tim, what about you? Evening, Grant. I can see you there, mate.
I did answer the poll. I did put Spurs, but the more I think about it, I'd love to see Forest get relegated.
Oh, my dream. So, I have so many interactions with their fan base on Twitter, or X as it is called these days, and they're just so salty. That's what they are. They're salty, and the top and bottom is they're jealous. I think they're jealous of us. They don't like us. I get that honest feeling. Paul Gear, your thoughts, please, mate.
Well, I think we're spoiled this year, aren't we? I mean, it's a smorgasbord. There's a great reason for all three of them to go, to be honest. It would be hysterical for any of them. I've got good reasons for all of them. But as a practical sense and probably as a calmer sense, I'd probably rather Forest go. West Ham and Spurs are nice, easy games to get to. And Forest, obviously, after what they did to us in the summer, deserve it. It means we won't be able to go to Hooters, but I'll take that hit to see the Forest mob back down to where they belong.
Ian Nobles has joined us, and he said, Ian Nobles on. He said, Forest for me all day long, just for the revenge angle. No matter how we moan about getting to and from the London stadium, the two London clubs, it's easier than getting to Nottingham. And you're right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Get onto Grant's page, okay, and influence that vote whichever way you see fit. And if we get a chance to revisit it towards the end of the show, we'll have a look to see if that vote changes during the course of the next hour. Thanks for putting it up, Grant. Good chatting to you earlier, mate. Actually, no, that last bit's not true. Anyway, we're going to move on to something else, okay? And it's Jason Cadle has done his usual bits and pieces. Those of you on social media will already be aware of all the posts that have been put out today with reference to his initiative that he came up with a couple of years ago, Bring Your Scarf to Selhurst. Now, what he's encouraging you all to do, and there it is, you'll look out for that emblem all over your socials. Larnaca at home, obviously, this Thursday evening, 12th of March. And he's asking you to raise the roof by raising your scarf above your heads as the teams enter the pitch. Please keep your scarves aloft during the Glad All Over song. There's a massive opportunity to add colour and atmosphere during the match. We've seen how good it looks when other teams have visited Selhurst Park on these European nights. Now it's our turn. The idea is for all four sides of the ground, bring your Crystal Palace scarves, old and new, and help create a memorable atmosphere. Please share this information across all social media outlets and, of course, on our podcast, which we are happy to do. And I told Jason we would. Don't think, oh, it's all right. Plenty of others will do it, so I won't bother. Be the person that does bother. If you are going to the game on Thursday night, I'm going to be doing it. I need it to keep myself warm, look, because I'm getting older. Okay, so I will be wearing my colours with pride. So make sure you do it. Well, before we get into the game, okay, and Nigel, can you tee up the team news for when Paul takes over? But boys, honestly, hand on heart, did you actually see that result coming? Such a emphatic 3-1. I think we let them off lightly, if I'm honest, especially in the second half. Tim, I'll start with you. Do you actually think? Did you see that result coming on Thursday night?
No, I was hopeful because Spurs aren't doing very well at the moment. And I'd have to say there have been some green shoots in our performances in the last few weeks, I think. But knowing the luck we normally get when we play against the bigger teams, no, not only did I not see the result, but the performance. I was delighted with the performance as well.
Paul, your thoughts? I mean, you and your gang travelled over there. Difficult place to get to. I think we were all entered the night fairly confident, okay, because we knew they were on such a low ebb. But did you honestly think we'd see such a one-sided affair?
Yeah, I was confident. I mean, Spurs is always a tough ground for us to go. Our win there last year was the first time we'd ever won at the new ground. Up until a couple of years ago, we'd hardly ever scored there as well. But no, I went there very confident. I mean, as other people have seen on social media, I got interviewed by BBC Radio London in the concourse again before the game, and I predicted we'd win. So yeah, I obviously did think we were going to take the 3 points, and was delighted to be right. Yeah,
well done for your interview, mate. I did listen back to it. You do Red and Blue review proud every time you represent us. So thank you, mate. Lyonsy, your thoughts?
No, I would have been happy with a draw before the start, and the only reason for that is it'd be very Palace-like to help a team that's on an awful run of form get the much-needed win, and then therefore the momentum that they've been looking for. But I was pleasantly surprised. We were moving the ball a lot quicker, carrying it, and we were a threat clearly before they went down to 10 men, and quite probably should have been at least 1-0 up by then. Great performance. Certainly the first half.
I must admit, it was the Palace thing that came across my mind. Think about the Burnley game. Yeah, if you're in danger and you need some help, who are you going to call? You're going to call Palace, which is exactly what Burnley did. And I thought the same thing, that sort of thing for Thursday night. And I just wondered if that was going to happen. The same thing. Paul.
But yeah, and there would have been a symmetry too, because obviously Tottenham are the only team in the Premier League who haven't won a league game in 2026. And in fact, the last game before Thursday they'd actually won in the league was against us in December. So yeah, it would have been a sort of bookend for them. So thankfully we didn't let that happen.
Tim, before we go into the game, can you say some hellos in the chat?
Yeah, it looks like it's a good turnout. Usual lot. Let's just go back up. So, yeah, some Mr. Noble, Ian Noble, not sure who he is. Someone, Ian Lyons, 65, 63. Finally, he's being honest about his age. But there you go. Joan Wells, Robert Watermore, Rob Cranfield, Dawn Palace, Mark Callahan, Mr. Bristow, hello, sir. Paul Grant. Ian Lyons again. He gets around a bit, doesn't he? Andy Hopper, William Jones, Mark Callahan, Daniel Garlick. Yeah, the usual gang.
And I see Jason is out there. Jason, in case you've only just joined us, mate, I have already covered it. I promise it's Bring a Scarp to Palace night. It will be going out and it'll be on the podcast. And I hope it's a massive success for you, mate. You know you got our support here on this channel. Good luck to you, buddy. I'll be intrigued to see. I'll be there on Thursday night myself. Be intrigued to see how it goes on. Anyway, Nigel, could we have the team news while I hand over to Paul for what was a monumental night at the London Stadium? Not the London Stadium, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, so this was the team. The team news came out obviously an hour and a quarter before the game, which is always highly anticipated. We knew Lacroix was obviously going to be suspended today, so Riyad came in for him. There's probably no other choice to that. I think Klein might have had a shout, but no, Riyad, Canvo, Richards was the back three, and obviously Munoz and Mitchell are wing backs as normal. Walton Kamada are obviously our first choice holding midfield pair. And basically Sarah, Strand Larson and Gessan came back in for Johnson. So I think we were all a bit surprised Johnson played at Manchester United and thought maybe we might go for the player against his old team route again there. But Gessard came back in. So probably our strongest team bar the suspension. So and they got bench obviously strong as well. Lerma was back on the bench. So yeah, everyone, the atmosphere going into the ground was very good. You could tell we spoke to some Spurs fans on the way up the Seven Sisters Road, and as we'll come on to later, there's a lot of doom and gloom in their camp at the moment, and rightly so. And you can see why. But yeah, the game started, and as we said, Tottenham are in terrible form at the moment. And really, when a team's like that, you want to be going straight at them, and that's exactly what we did. So we got a long throw in the first couple of minutes, which is one of our big tactics this season, along with a lot of teams. Chris Richards throws it in, bobbles around a bit, comes off someone's head, someone's knee, and falls to Adam. And it hits a good shot, and the keeper saves it, pushes it wide. We all know Adam Morton's probably never going to score for us at this rate, and he was a bit unlucky with that shot. It was good effort, and as I say, it was a statement of intent as well. So Spurs knew straight away that we were going to be going for them, hopefully. And we carried on doing that. The next real significant attack was in the 7th minute when Munoz was played down the right. And he was taken out by a fairly robust tackle, is probably a generous way of putting it. And he landed on his shoulder. So he had lengthy treatment on the side and didn't look like he was going to come back in. But play went on. And we were a bit annoyed about that at that point because I don't know whether it was him not ready to come back on or whether the ref had told him to stay off. But obviously, we've had this rule in a place a few times. I had this debate on here a few times. But if a player who fouls you've booked, then you don't actually have to go off. So we were a bit confused with that. And so I'm kind of hoping it was a case rather that Munoz just wasn't ready to come back, which the fact that he didn't last much longer suggested that it was the case. But yeah, he finally did come back on, and the ball fell to him on the edge of the box. He took a shot, and obviously when you take a shot, you move your arms to balance yourself, and you could tell the minute he hit that shot, he just stopped play because he was in too much pain, and he went down. So we knew what was coming there, Nick.
Yeah, I'm going to just jump on for the benefit of those that didn't see a couple of our groups that I'm on. I did have a bit of an update on the Munoz injury, and I'm not even going to name the guys on here. Know who I was talking about because we were talking about it pre-show. But I'm not going to name names of who was actually sitting with him the following morning at breakfast over at the training ground. A lot of you know this individual anyway, but the good news is he's not severely injured. He's not out for weeks. It's days. The news that we got from literally the following morning, it's days as opposed to weeks. He's got bruising. That's all it is bruising. It's not trees that's all on the night. She said, well, look the way he's holding his arm and the wrapping it around in his shirt and that sort of stuff. It was a partial dislocation. It appears it wasn't as severe as that. It's just bruising. So you never know. He might even feature on Thursday. Sorry, mate. Thank you for that.
That's all right. Yeah. So yeah, as I say, he went down. Spurs fans obviously started booing because they just thought he was wasting time and off. But as you said, he went off holding his arm, dodging, and it looked quite bad. But hopefully that update we've got there is a bit more promising. Obviously, Klein came on for him in just a like-for-like swap and wing back, and he's always there and does a good job when he's called upon. So he probably came on earlier, obviously, than we expected him to. But yeah, that's our main replacement for him. So on he came. Spurs at this point not really offering much. We're playing some balls around the back and moving forward, and not really in any danger. But Spurs finally did offer something going forward, and they got the ball to Tell on the edge of the box, and he hit a low shot which Dean collected. Not quite as cleanly as he normally collects them, but yeah, no real hassle at that point. Then we play a lovely move at that point. Klein goes down the right to Jurgen Strand-Larsen, holds the ball up well, and he plays Gessard down the right. And as soon as he gets there, he plays a square ball across to Sarr, who's managed to get behind the last man. Sarr goes into the box a little wider than he probably wanted to, but he's hit his shot, which has hit Porro, looped up over Vicario and bounced into the net. And obviously Palace end goes mad, goes nuts. But then we get the normal picture on the screen saying goal offside check. And as always, it took ages. I mean, I think it took about 3.5 minutes from what we've seen. And eventually, obviously, it was given offside. And yeah, we've had some debates about the rule on this one and things like that. Now, yeah, by the look of it, he was offside by a nose. Now, the rule is the rule. We've said this before. There's a line, and ultimately, if anything that you can score from is the wrong side of that line, you're offside. Now, the bit that annoys me about this, and we seem to have this a lot last year at Tottenham, we had a very similar incident where we had a goal because Mateta was offside on the halfway line. Even though both his feet were in our half, he was leaning with his head into their half. So perhaps we've upset the linesman at the Tottenham Stadium. But yeah, it was a nose. Now, the only thing that bothers me about this is, okay, if his nose is offside, it's offside. But there doesn't seem to be. Fulham had Liverpool had a goal at Fulham earlier this season, and it was basically given, even though every angle and every picture you looked at looked like he was offside. But it was given because apparently this year there's this new line of 5 centimetres tolerance. Now, I'm pretty sure, I can't be factual, but I'm pretty sure Sarr's nose is not 5 centimetres long, unless he's been telling a lot of porkies. But yeah, it's so didn't seem to be any tolerance on there. What was your guys thinking of that?
I'll take it. Well, last week I said line's the line, as you said, Paul. It's offside. Move on. It was just unfortunate timing. You know, Monty's put and a couple of people have put VAR's ruin football. It's not VAR that's ruining football. It's the morons that use it. Yeah. Ultimately, it's just what it is. We'll win some, we'll lose some. That's how it is. I mean, even when the rules change, the line is the line, or you know, the demarcation is demarcation. We'll just have to put up with it, don't we? So,
Tim?
No, I quite agree. God, I agree with Ian Lyons. It's horrendous. It's about twice this week now. Sure. But yeah, I mean, it's according to the letter of the law, it's offside, but it has ruined football. I mean, that's you know, it's ridiculous that goal not only has been ruled out for that offside, but it's how long it took as well. I mean, they draw the line, they have the picture of the person. That's how quick it is. Why was it 3.5 minutes? It's ridiculous.
All right. Dean Henderson's birthday on Thursday, apparently, according to Grant. If you were looking at it from, I understand we might actually have 1 or 2 Spurs fans joining us this evening and tuning in. So good evening, gentlemen, if you are there. I think you're very brave. We're not going to slag you off, but you must think, when you look at that shot from Sarr that takes the deflection and bounce over your goalkeeper, at that point you must think, shit, our luck isn't in the moment. You're scoring off the back of somebody's arse, basically, and that's exactly how it happened. I didn't celebrate at home. Admittedly, I wasn't at the game on Thursday night. So well done to all of you that went. You sounded outstanding. Okay, not just pitch side, but in the stands as well, that we're going to come on to later on. But it was I didn't celebrate because I saw that Sarr wasn't celebrating. He had an inkling he might have drifted. He might have gone, Tim.
Paul Bristow makes a very good comment. He said the irony is the time added on in the first half of that VAR check, we scored 2 goals. So You know,
I was actually going to make the same point later on. Absolutely. So yeah, it was. Yeah, I wasn't jumping around the lounge at that point simply because I saw Sarr wasn't, and he had a feeling that he might have drifted. Carry on, Paul.
Yeah, and it's sad that we've always said it many times recently, as with VAR, it means you almost do hold back from celebrating when you're in the crowd. And if the players are now going to stop celebrating when they think they're offside, it's a bit of a sad one, really. But yeah, so obviously, finally, 3-4 minutes later, the ref gives that. Spurs, the cheer goes up, obviously, because they're suddenly not behind when they thought they would be. And yeah, like any team, it gives them a bit of a boost. They suddenly go on the attack. Another shot from Tell on the edge of the box is deflected out for a corner from Chris Richards minutes after this. Corner swung in, back to the deep post. Archie Gray can't really control it. He heads it up in the air, puts it to the edge of the box. And he's being marshalled by Walton and Richards, and really they made it far too easy for him. They just covered one side, and he just went down the other side, cut in, managed to keep the ball in play. We were hoping he didn't, but yeah, he squared it back for Solanke in the 6-yard box to tap it in. So that was a real bit of a shock, to be honest, because they'd offered.
Paul, is Richards culpable there?
He's gone to help Adam. He's probably gone to help him on the wrong side. That's the only thing. But it's one of those things. But when you've got two players against one in that position, the attacker really shouldn't get past them. To be honest, in my opinion, I know Oliver said it was poor defending as well. But yeah, it's not a good time to give them a goal. As you say, they've just had the fillip of not going behind from the offside goal, and then they've gone straight up and scored. And as we've said before, in the mood they're in at the moment, that probably was what they were after. But yeah, so we suddenly find ourselves 1-0 down, having not had many problems. But the good thing was I didn't get heads drop or anything. We carried on back as we were straight from kickoff, and within 3 or 4 minutes we were level with a very familiar incident, which we'll come on to. So the ball goes through the middle, it's flicked up in the air, and Strand Larsen gets the head first, knocks it on to Sarr, who goes into the box, and then Van der Ven obviously pulls him back, 2 hands on the arm, pulls him back. All the players appeal. We couldn't really see it from where we were in the ground. All we suddenly saw was that the ref flash a red card, so we knew he'd given a penalty. But yeah, it's ironic how these things happen in quick succession. Obviously, 2 weeks ago we gave away a penalty when Adam took out someone going clean on goal. He only got a booking because, as we said at the time, there was the double jeopardy rule. He went for the ball. And then last week, obviously, at Manchester United, we had the controversial moment where Max was sent off for a dogso for, in theory, pulling a player in the box. Now, so when it happened, there can be no argument. And to be fair, I've not seen any Tottenham fans arguing, but you have to wonder about Mickey van der Ven's state of mind at that point, because they've just gone in front. The players know the rules, and he must have known what was coming by doing it. I know there's an element of instinct and stuff, but he's blatantly pulled him back in the box. I mean, I'm not sure what he's expecting to happen. But yeah, so letter of the law was applied properly. Andy Madley did it properly, and it was a great opportunity for us to get straight back in it. Nick?
Yeah. First of all, is my sound okay? Because if not, I'd jump off. Okay. Yeah. Secondly, let's talk physics for a minute. Okay, so Van der Ven pulls him back, okay, and what does he do? He pulls his arm, he falls backwards, yeah? Last weekend, 3 fingers on the shoulder, pulls him back, and what did the cheating bastard do? Falls forward into the box, okay? Tell me, that's where it really drives me mad about not having retrospective yellow cards or some sort of disciplinary. It was blatant cheating. Ian, fill your boots.
But that's what I was saying earlier. It's about the people that are actually using VAR. They're the problem. You know, it's not the ref can only give what he can see in real time. When you've got the benefit of replay, different angles, now surely 9 times out of 10 they've got to be able to see that and say, do you know what? It was a bit light and he fell forward. You know. It's
clear. Wasn't it initially brought in for clear and obvious? Yeah, Tim. Comparing the two, who's a cheater?
Oh, but it's not just that. It was the whole thing with Maguire last week as well, with the kick to the head. This is what these big teams do. They cheat and they get away with it. They can do retrospective officiating. They could sanction the club. They could sanction the player. But it comes down to the big teams. Get the breaks. Simple as that. I mean, you know for a fact last week, if it was roles reversed, it wouldn't have been a penalty and it wouldn't have been sending off. I mean, that's just fact.
And as far as the one on Thursday night's concerned, I mean, in fairness, it wasn't just a pullback. He literally yanked his arm. I mean, he yanked his arm, and it was. I don't think I've seen anybody say that was never a penalty at all. So yeah, sorry, mate, I interrupted you. Carry on.
No, that's right. No, as I say, fortunately there was no debate on it, and VAR confirmed it all, and everyone since has totally agreed. I mean, that's why that rule is there for the blatant pullback when you're not trying to get the ball. So yeah, great stuff. We get a penalty, and we've got the extra man. So suddenly the whole wave has turned. Sarr steps up. He's obviously our penalty taker now, and calmly rolls it into the corner. So 1-1, and yeah, all the impetus with us, and you can sense the unrest in the crowd at this point. And to me, this is when you want to try and put the hammer down, and luckily that's exactly what we did. So we again just straight at them. Don't let them settle down. They brought in a couple of players. They brought in Basuma and Gallagher. They obviously wanted to reshape, so they went back to a back four. And yeah, we're hoping obviously the energy of Gallagher could do the running of two men, because they were obviously a man down. But yeah, so we get to the ball in our attack again. Walton plays a lovely defence splitting ball to Strand Larson, who pokes it through the keeper. So it was a good move again. As I say, Tottenham trying to play it out, but our press was good. We won it back, and like I said, Walton a lovely little through ball, and Strand Larson makes a good run and puts it in the net. So it's his third goal for Palace. I think it's his third goal in 5 games. So his record's looking pretty good at this point. But
Paul, can I jump in again? I want to talk. I just want to mention that the last couple of weeks I've been very critical of Adam. Okay, and I have been the last couple of months. He has, well, the team have also been underperforming, but Adam Walton in particular has been certainly off the boil. I wanted to put on record tonight that, because it's been me that's saying it, okay, and other people have jumped on it as well, that he had a cracking game on Thursday night, a wonderful game on Thursday night. Some of those balls were just world-class, quality balls. Tim?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I mean, he hasn't been performing. I mean, it's not a personal thing. He just hadn't been performing, but he was superb Thursday. And also Canvo. I've got to say Canvo as well. He's had some flack.
I'm coming to the back three. Thank you for raising it, mate. You're making a good point. I want to come back to the back three, but mate, Lyonsy.
Tim's made a good point, blimey.
I know. Jeez.
Go and have a lie down, Tim. I'd also like to pile in and say, we always like to be fair and in what we see and how we talk about the players. I thought Daichi Kamada at first half was superb. But then it's everyone was superb. Klein was superb when he came on. I know you're going to talk about
overall question, a generic question for you all then, all three of you. Were we that good, or did Spurs make us look that good because they were so shit? Ian?
Right, I'm going to take that, because when we were on the chat at the end, I said, look, great performance, great result, but we need to put it in perspective. It was against a poor team with an awful record and down to 10 men. I'm not taking anything away from that, but we've got to keep level-headed on it. You've got to see it for what it is. There was more space for us to play in, for Adam then, to play his passes. The no-look ball from Canvo in between a couple of players for the third goal, which Paul will come on to in a minute, was superb and completely missed by most people. So it's all about perspective, isn't it? It's all about having that even kill. And as our manager often reminds us, being humble.
Paul, did we make them look good? Sorry, did they make us look good?
Yeah, there's always an element of that, obviously. I mean, as I say, people have been critical of Adam recently. I mean, the thing I like about Adam, and I've seen a few people tweeting this and some journalists, he always tries to pass the ball forward, and he always tries to pass it progressively. Now, he's not always had the runners in front of him. Now, as we said, the other day he had more space, he had more time, and he was picking balls out for fun. And when he does that, he's top of his game, and he's back as an England candidate when he's playing like that. But yeah, as we said, though, he's not been playing well, but a lot of the team haven't, and when the team isn't playing well, you're not going to be able to find runners and things like that. So it was just nice that we did play well, but it has to help that they had a man less, and it was nice that we did play well, because we've in recent past we've not always done that against 10 men. I know at Forest recently we had an extra man and really still looked the worst team in a lot of ways. So it was nice.
He bailed out on his stats as well. I just looked up his stats while you were talking there. Paul. His pass accuracy, 30 out of 37 completed passes, 81%. 2 assists, obviously. I thought, and also his heat map in our side of the pitch, our end of the pitch, was also very strong, very strong. Tim, you wanted to make a quick point?
Yeah. Just Ian Noble has actually criticised us, said he's going to turn it off. It's really boring because we're agreeing with each other. So we need to stop that. All right, back to normal. Okay.
Okay, easy to rectify that one. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, so 2-1. The Spurs fans beginning to leave their seats for their halftime drinks, and it was the team just wanted to get off the pitch at that point. You could see, but we weren't going to let that happen. And as Ian has just said, we played the 2 passes of the night. I mean, Camvo, like I said, I've been critical of Camvo in the past for various things, but as we said, he had an excellent game, and I think his stats, he made 16 passes into the final third or something, which is quite very high up in Crystal Palace centre back records. So fair play to him. He did excellently in all assets of the game, and he played as a lovely through ball through about 2 or 3 players, just eye of the needle to Adam. And again, he already knows where Sarr is. First time he's controlled it on the swivel, and he's chipped a lovely ball through the back, and Sarr just has to beat the keeper coming out for it, and he did that. Toe pokes it past him, and the away end just went absolutely mental. And the boos were ringing around, and there was a fire drill in the half at that point, and we all thought maybe they're just going to drown their sorrows in the bar, but by all accounts, TNT and the TV were showing quite a few.
Absolutely, and it was. I was about to jump in and say about it. You mentioned that some of them were going off to get their half-time cup of tea. A lot of them weren't, okay? A lot of them. I mean, Ian, you saw it on the telly, didn't you? A lot of them, they kept focusing on it. How many people were walking down those steps?
Getting
the train, yeah. Absolutely. Come on, Paul.
Well, I must say, I mean, that was a real benefit. I mean, just to jump to the end of the game, we had a long 1.5 walk back to the tube station, and we didn't stop once. Walked straight through the queue, straight into the tube station, straight to the tube, because most of the crowd had gone, so it was wonderful. But yeah, so half-time whistle blows, the boos are around, and Adams become the first Palace player to have 2 assists in the first half since Michael Elise did it a few years ago against Sheffield United. So that shows how well he was doing. And the other thing we didn't mention, I don't know if TV showed it or not, but Dean, obviously at our end of the pitch, when we were scoring goals, he definitely enjoyed that third goal. He came over and broke the corner flag with a Mateta celebration, which was
saw it.
Needed to be repaired at half time. So yeah, so we go in at half time. The dressing room must have been a great place for us and a horrendous place for them. So we come out second half, and obviously you shouldn't lose a game at this point. So there was obviously a confidence around that. It was just whether we were going to put the hammer down and try and finish them off. But actually, the Spurs probably came out the brighter in the second half. They'd obviously had a bit of a rocket, and they started attacking a little bit more, a bit more purpose. They forced a few corners, and they forced a few free kicks. One corner in particular came in. Danso had a powerful header, which Dean saved. Solanke then had a run into the box, which hit a low shot to the near post, which again Dean saved with his foot. That seemed to weather the storm and quell them a bit, because they weren't getting anywhere. And we were just controlling the ball, controlling the game, playing it around the back with no real urgency to score the 4th goal, which, okay, if you're 3-1 up and you're trying to just conserve energy and kill a game, that's fair enough. But it's probably, to me, it would have been a good time to try and practice playing against a low block, or just trying to get some more goals with confidence or whatever. But perhaps the game plan was just see the game out. But yeah, we gave away some silly free kicks that we didn't need to, which gave them a few sighters at goal. But again, with their confidence, didn't really make any difference. So in the 67th minute, though, we made our first change. Our first non-enforced change. When Brendan Johnson came on for Evan Gessard. Brendan obviously coming on his old ground, and it was quite interesting to see the fans that were left in the home ends. They gave him a good round of applause, which they're probably ruining him not being there at the moment, to be honest, because things are not going great for them, obviously. And it was the old manager who didn't like him and sold him on. So, and with his history there, scoring their European Cup winner, they were probably quite upset to see him in a red and blue shirt that night rather than their white shirt. Spurs finals throws of the dice at that point. They brought on Richarlison for Simons. Richarlison and Simons for Solanke and Pedro Porro. Didn't really make any difference to the game. And yeah, we then brought Hughes on for Walton. Obviously, just Walton had run himself into the ground at that point and just bring some fresh legs on. And the game just sort of petered out at that point. We didn't have a shot in target in the second half, I don't think. So, yeah, it was just drifting to the end. And then once we got to the end, full-time whistle went. A few Spurs fans left in the ground made it clear they were not too impressed. There was with the big boos. And yeah, it's put them in, as we said earlier, they're now 1 point above thanks to the very probably unexpected results the night before, with Forest getting a point at City and West Ham winning at Fulham. They're in real trouble now, 1 point above relegation zone. But yeah, players came over, obviously did their celebration things. Dino got the song going, and Uche took on his Lacroix punching for the crowd and things like that. So yeah, it was a great night, great result. 3-1 win, obviously. First time we've ever won back-to-back games at Spurs. And yeah, it was a great night in the end.
Nick, you're on mute.
Sorry, mate. Thank you. Like out in the chat, because I know there's still quite a few out there. I've got the player ratings in front of me. Boys, I'd like to know your man of the match, your thoughts on the man of the match. Out in the chat, I'd like your vote in the chat, please. Let me know your man of the match because it's. So I've got the player ratings in front of me. But while you're putting those votes in, Tim's going to have a look at them in a minute, okay? Ian and Paul, can I ask you, who did you think was playing the match?
Oh, blimey. I think there are a number of contenders. I think the back three, I think Canvo's turning into the player that we were hoping he was going to be.
Just coming on to that in a second.
Through minutes. I thought Mitchell was just solid as ever. He's my player of the season at the minute. He's just been so dependable. I think you've got to give it to Wharton for his creativity. I don't think you could probably. There are 4 or 5 candidates that if you made a choice that you'd give a man of the match, I wouldn't argue with. So,
cool.
Good all-round performance.
Yeah, as we said, there was a couple you could have. Walton was excellent. Cambo was excellent. Sarr is always a thorn in any team side these days, and obviously with the 2 goals, he'd probably have a shout for it as well. But yeah, push comes to shove, I would probably go for Adam.
And okay, well, it's interesting you two said that because all the ones that I can see coming through on the chat, apart from that one on screen now, Canvo, the player ratings across the pitch. The player with the second lowest rating was actually Mitchell. He had the player that had the worst player rating was actually Gusong. Not as influential as we wanted. And the player man of the match on the night, certainly on FootMob, with 2 goals and a 9.1 star performance was Ismaili Sarr. He's a decent player, and Ian.
Sarr's great, don't get me wrong, but too often people just go for the easy path or go for the goal scorer. The work that goes into providing the ball for that individual to score is always overlooked. And a lot of the time it's based off of the defence. I'm not saying that someone in the defence should have got it, but people need to be a bit more wiser and look elsewhere as to the effort that's going in elsewhere in the team to provide the platform for people to score.
Cool, Paul, and then Tim.
Yeah, so as we say, a lot of the commentators on TV channels will, just as Ian says, give it to the guys that scored the goals. But yeah, just a few more little bits after the game. We'll see that puts us on 38 points now, back above our friends down on the south coast, which is always a nice place to jump over them. And I think we can all pretty safely say we're safe now. I know 35 points people were thinking once the West Ham result came in, but 38 points, you can't see the three teams we mentioned earlier overhauling us now. I mean, you can't see Spurs getting 10 more points than us, can you? Let's be honest, let alone the other 2. So no, yeah, hopefully with that we can play with some more freedom now and say people like Adam and can play with his more relaxed attitude and less pressure on him and spray the passes around like he's been doing. Tim.
Yeah, you're right to highlight that. The fact that whilst we're not mathematically safe, it's going to be, I mean, it wouldn't even be an Oldham type scenario. It would be worse than that for us to get dragged into it now. Tim, you're on mute, mate. You wanted to make a point?
Yeah, I was just going to also talk about, because you haven't mentioned him yet, but Riyadh, and how good is it to see, out for so long with those injuries, to see how well in a relatively short space of time he's been back, because you can be fit, but there's a difference between being fit and being match fit. And he hasn't really dropped a cog, has he, to be fair?
Right, okay. Paul, I'm just going to hold you for a minute because Tim hasn't seen the show notes, clearly, that were published online this afternoon, because the next point was going to be that back three that we played, Cambo, Richards, and Riyad. If you've got to realise we've lost our captain in Mark Gay, we're likely to. Lacroix could easily be snapped up in the close window this year because of his performances. How well did those three play together? And Tim, you're bang on about. Thank you for raising it, but I was coming to it next anyway. Ian, I'm going to go with you first. Canvo, Richards, and Riyad. How well were they? How good were they?
You're on mute, Lizzie.
I can't hear you, Lindsay. You're not on mute, and we can't hear you. Paul, same question while he's sorting out his tech.
Yeah, I think we were a bit fortunate the other day in that Spurs went with one up front, just Dominic Solanke. So we always had an extra man on top of them anyway. But individually and collectively, they, as you say, they played well, not just defending, as we mentioned earlier. Camvo's forward passing was excellent. Richards obviously moved to the middle, which he doesn't normally play, so he was marshalling the back line, and nothing beat them. As I say, the goal was from a set piece ultimately and was a bad bit of defending, but the rest of the time they didn't really force many problems. So as a back three, for the first time they've probably played together in a certain away game. I think it was them probably against Wolves as well recently, but yeah, we didn't miss Lacroix on the night, which shows how well they played.
And the other point, and somebody's just made it in the chat, the fact that we have Czech Decore now playing for the under-21s. That'd be like, I mean, we can get him back to some sort of level of fitness by the end of the season. Yeah, thank you, Lee. Good point, mate. We get Czech Decore back by some level of fitness by the end of the season. It'd be like a new signing, wouldn't it, Tim?
Yeah, it'd be perfect. You take over from Kamada, wouldn't he? You just take, he's going at the end of the season. We get Decore back fit, then natural replacement.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Paul, go for it, man.
Yeah, so as much as we're sort of lauding the players in here, the best part, one of the best parts of the game this week has been actually off the pitch. So just to go into some of that, you've probably seen scenes on social media about half-time in the concourse. The Palace fans were in fine voice, brilliant voice the other day during the game, and we had some really good songs on talking about having a party and having a ball. Brighton and Millwall have won, expletive all, and it's been great, and it's nice to see that the unity is back. And with the team playing better, that the crowd is getting more confident again, and obviously we're doing all the scarves I think on Thursday. And there was a spell obviously recently with the upheaval with managers and players voicing displeasures and stuff where it's not been quite as together, but it seems to be coming back, which is nice. And that was just the Palace fans the other day, and you saw the other end of the stick, as we mentioned earlier, the fire drills with the Tottenham fans when they went 2 down, 3 down, and all throughout some of the pictures of the stands in the last 10 minutes, it looked like the Amex. I mean, it was that empty, it was ridiculous. But it was great. But in terms of fans, I don't often watch a lot of these, but as people probably know, they're watching us online. But there's so much online content for football these days, and so many watch-alongs. And it's like you, Nick. I had a couple of hours this afternoon where I've just been in hysterics watching some of these Tottenham fans just absolutely head loss, all the goals and everything. Now, if anyone's got 10 minutes after this show, go onto YouTube and look up someone called Expressions. And I think the video is called Expressions Rages at watching Tottenham Palace. It's 12 minutes of just absolute hilarity. I mean, I've seen a couple of other videos since that, but the man sums up what it's like to be a Tottenham fan at the moment. And yeah, he's a bit nuts, but I've seen a few more sensible, level-headed Tottenham fans about it as well. But it's quite interesting to see. They are really now, as we said, with the results the night before, they are really now panicking that they could go down for the first time since 1977, and it's spreading. As you say, we saw the Lincoln fans yesterday and the Stevenage fans today apparently singing they're playing Tottenham next year when they come up from League One. And yeah, it's it will be quite something. I said this the other day, to see a club of that size and a stadium like that in the Championship. But when you look at it and you look at the fixtures coming up, you see West Ham have got some momentum, Forest have got some momentum. You can quite easily see them getting at least more than one more point than Tottenham over the rest of the season. They've got Liverpool away next, and then the big one, I mean, it's going to be a huge game. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Tottenham fan. Their next home game is Forest, which is probably going to be the biggest game that they've had at that stadium. So, yeah, it's a very real thing that they could go down, which would be quite...
That's a horrible thought. Ian, I'm coming to you now, mate, but that's a horrible thought. That game, Tottenham versus Forest, what would be the ideal result there? I want them I want to. I think you're right. I want them both to lose. Is that possible? Ian, you're going to make a point, mate.
Yeah, well, I do. Do we really think Wolves are out of it still at the minute? Because whenever I've watched Wolves over the last 6 or 7 games, they've put in some cracking performances, which puts our win over them in a lot of context. When you look at how they played against Liverpool the other night and everything else, it would not surprise me to see them not finish bottom, maybe not get out of the bottom 3, but really put, and if they then start making a move up and closing the gap to the likes of Forest and Spurs, then the ringers will definitely be going. I mean, as the boys have said, I think a lot of the Spurs fans I know, I haven't been able to contact for the last few days, but I know going into the game that they were already resigned to going down, and I think that's evident with people disappearing in the stands. It's great when it's not us.
Tim,
I think the other thing you got to remember as well is that teams like Forest, like West Ham, Burnley, Wolves, they're all used to being in a dogfight in a relegation battle. Spurs, when was the last time they were seriously under threat of relegation? They haven't been. They're not.
They don't know how to dig their way out. Is what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Paul.
It's a big thing, as Tim says, having the players that have been there and done it, and the manager. I said on this interview I did the other day, and I've said it to friends, I can't believe they've hired this Igor Tudor. I mean, there's a lot of complaints about him, to be honest. He came in, started with a back 5 against Arsenal, it didn't work. He then went to a back 4 against Fulham, that didn't work. He's gone back to it. So even within 3 games, he can't decide on a formation. He's only got 10, 11 games to do stuff. He can't decide on a formation. He can't decide the best players. Now, okay, you have to caveat all this. They've got an awful injury list. That's fair to them. But he's never managed in the Premier League. He's never had a relegation battle like this with this pressure on. So games like this, so Liverpool away, Van de Ven's going to be suspended. I think Romero is back, but I'm not sure that's a good thing or bad for Spurs these days. But that Forest game is huge, and I think the problem for Spurs, once they drop into that bottom 3, I think the fans will completely lose it, and I just can't see them getting out once they get in. If they can keep their heads above water, they might scrape it, but I think if they go in there, the others will just tighten the noose. I
think it was in Noble in the chat. Wolves go on a run and hopefully take Tottenham and Forest down. Do you know what? I nearly used a really bad taste analogy there, but I would be really excited, I'm telling you, if that was to happen. Ian?
Yeah, I mean, if someone like Spurs go down, you watch them all profess at how great the Championship is. It's real football. They should have done it 10 years earlier and all that bollocks. And also that, if they were, whoever goes down is going to benefit from a larger pool for the playoffs. Sod's law, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've forgotten about that. And what about the thought? And again, I think it was Lee made the point in the chat. The thought that the morons up the road could be coming up.
They're playing well. Don't ignore that fact. They are playing well at the minute, and we all know what it's like when you're a team on a roll. You've got that belief, and then you suddenly find these wins out of nowhere.
Luckily, they've had recent experience in the playoffs, and they tend to bottle it. So let's hope they do that. Middlesbrough won today to give the gap a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I don't really want Mill. I think if Mill came up, they'd be the whipping boys anyway. But it's just the hassle around the games, to be honest, for us as home and away fans against them. Just could live without, really.
So I have an update for you guys on the poll. Not much has changed on the poll. Get over to Grant's page if you want to get involved in this poll. It's West Ham, Forest and Spurs. So the current voting is West Ham on 9%. Forest have moved up a little bit, up to 30%, and Spurs are currently on 61%. Paul?
I know Yaz will be very upset if Spurs go down, simply because she loves their donuts there. That's one good thing about the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They do some good food and donuts.
I mean, it's a cracking stadium anyways, let's be honest with you. I honestly believe it's actually better than Wembley.
Yeah, best stadium.
The best stadium in the country, if I'm honest with you. Okay, right, what we're going to do is we're going to move on very briefly to other teams, if you don't mind. Other teams since our last show, the under-21s took on Blackburn and Rovers on Friday, Premier League 2, Division 1, the Blackburn Rovers training ground, and they won 2-1. Apparently it's a very good game. Somebody said it was a very exciting game. The under-18s took on the Spuds, the Tottenham, and they're getting used to this. And they again lost to Palace 1-0. That was on the under-18s Premier League Cup at Hotspur Way. And the women haven't had a game since our last show. Their next match is against Nottingham Forest at the VWS Sutton Stadium. So, Nigel, you haven't given me actually when that game's being played. It's coming up. But we're going to talk about the upcoming fixtures. But before we do, Nigel has asked me to point out to you, everybody listening to this or watching this, the men's match against West Ham United, and it'll no doubt come up on the slide in a minute or so. The men's game against West Ham United has now been moved to Monday, the 20th of April, 8 o'clock kickoff, and it's live on Sky. But this is still subject to change due to the participation of Palace and West Ham in the UEFA Conference League and the FA Cup, respectively, until Sunday, the 15th of March, the Women's Super League 2. Oh, that's what. I'm sorry. He's gone. He's put it on another line. So bear in mind that West Ham game is not yet confirmed, Paul.
Yeah, we were trying to work out why that's the case. I mean, West Ham certainly haven't got any European match worries. And we don't, because we're playing the previous Thursday, so it shouldn't be a problem. The only thing we could come up with is that potentially is the only possible currently midweek that we could possibly play our rearranged game with Man City if they got to the next round of the cup, which they duly did. So there is a possibility. We seem to think when me, Ian, and a few of us were discussing this the other day, we might have to play Man City that Wednesday. So the West Ham game might move back. That's the only reason we could see the asterisk on that game. So, don't be surprised if that gets moved again.
Nice. Could you put the slide back up again, mate, please? Because we obviously never went through it. So, obviously, it goes without saying, the most important game, as far as I'm concerned now, for the rest of our season are the two games against AEK Larnaca. We're at home on Thursday evening, 8 o'clock kickoff, 12th of March. It's on TNT Sports, but you won't want to watch it on telly. You'll want to be in the ground. Let's get that ground absolutely rocking. Get those red and blue skulls up for Jason and the atmosphere. Let's lift that stadium. Let's show them what we can bring to any home game, especially under the lights in Europe. He might not be able to say that for much longer. So let's get it done this Thursday. Then obviously 15th of March, Sunday 15th March, 2 o'clock kickoff, Sky Sports, we're at home to Leeds. And then we've got a return fixture. I'll be over in Larnaca, assuming everything works and we're allowed to travel. I'm all booked and ready to go. I'm sure you are too, Paul. On Saturday, the 11th of April, 3 o'clock kickoff. Yeah, look at that. A Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. There's a rarity on its own. We're at home to the Geordies. Okay, it's still to be confirmed according to that. And then the West Ham game that we've just been talking about. And then finally, on the 25th of April, 3 o'clock kickoff, away at Anfield. Again, it's showing on there to be confirmed. Boys, out of that lot there, so you've got 4 Premier League fixtures in that lot, out of those 6. Your thoughts on how many points you think we're going to get? Ian, and you're on mute.
Nige, can you put the fixtures back up again quick?
So you got Leeds.
Look at that. Reactions of a cat. Leeds, I think we'll do well, get a draw. They're on fire at the minute. It's really tough to break down. 1 point against Newcastle, 3 points against West Ham, and 1 point against. So that's 6 points I'm going to go for.
Paul, your thoughts?
I'll probably go for 7. I think we'll beat Leeds next week. I think we'll probably get a draw with Newcastle, beat West Ham, and probably lose at Liverpool. But as we said, there's the question mark on that game is if Liverpool get to the semi-final of the FA Cup. So it'll be interesting to see who they draw in that tomorrow, because that would then go midweek later on the season as well. So, yeah, it's nice to have 3 home league games coming up in a row as well. But yeah, I'd like to think we'll win the 2 teams are below us and at least the draw against Newcastle.
And of course, I don't know if anybody, Tim, I'm going to ask for yours in a second. I don't know if anybody realises that game against West Ham, we could actually be sending the Hammers back down to the Championship on that particular day. That could be the day that things get decided. Tim, your thoughts on points for those 3 games?
5 points, I think.
Yeah, and I'd go with that as well. I hate to say it, but I'll actually go with you on that. 5 points would be good. What do you think out in the chat? Let's have a look. Anything in there? 5 points. Says Robert Lee says 7 points. Leon says, good evening, Leon. Hope you're well, mate. I think we'll beat Leeds also, so 8 points. Paul Plas 60. Hope you're well, mate. 5 points. And I did get your message the other day, buddy. My apologies. I haven't responded to you. Keith Parker says saying 5 points. We're going to knock it on the head there. Okay, so when are we back on, Nige? When's the next show? Is it next Sunday? It must be next Sunday, I would think. No, it's not. It's next Monday. We will be back Monday, the 16th of March at 8 o'clock. Okay, boys that I'm talking to on the panel, are you all going on Thursday evening? Yeah.
If I'm not working, yeah.
You're going to be there.
Looking forward to potentially seeing Mateta back. How does everyone feel about that?
I'm glad you did that because I'd forgotten
he won't be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul raises a really good point because I had it down on the running order for today. Jean-Philippe Mateta may well be in line for a squad place, or will we welcome him back into the fold? Because we know Yasmin Brun, aka Mel, would definitely not welcome him back into the fold. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know right now before we close. We've got 3 or 4 minutes. I'd love to know your thoughts on. I've got this opinion that all the time a player is wearing these colours in a shirt, he should get our support. I know he's thrown his toys out. There you go. Yasmin's already come back and said no. Should we support the player all the time he's wearing? We know he's going to be off in the summer. Do you think we should be supporting that player, or should we? Are you going to boo him? I'd love to know. Lyonsy.
Ultimately, we support him, but I'd like to see him get a massive boo when he comes on the pitch, because he needs to know what he's done. He needs to know how it's all come across, and it's been poor. And it will anyone else in the squad that thinks they can act that way, it will be a lesson to them. But once he's up and running, I don't think he'll get on. I think Strand Larsen will keep on the pitch, and if he gets hooked, it won't be until about the 80th minute. But he needs to or the fans need to get across what he's done.
Guys out in the chat, I'm reading all your messages right now as they're going through. A really mixed set of views. Tim, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, all the time he's wearing red and blue. I don't like the way he did, or what he did, or the way he did it. But still, all the time he's wearing red and blue. And if he turns out to score the winner in the final in the European game, I'm sure all will be forgiven.
Okay, I'm looking at Grant's views. Never boo in red and blue. Quite right. Keith Diamond, good evening, mate. Good exchanging with you the other day. If he's on the pitch and wearing red and blue, he should get our backing. Simon Philpott saying if his head's in the right place, then yes. John Knox says keep him on the bench. Jason Cadle says no, he's not happy that Matera is back. However, if he's wearing red and blue, I won't boo him. Yasmin Brun, who is the biggest voice on this subject, she's made her views absolutely clear over the last few weeks, and I take my hat off to you being so positive about it. She said no booing, but definitely no Wenger boys, and I actually make you right. Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll ever boo anyone who's got an FA Cup winners medal because they did what they did for Crystal Palace. But yeah, I think he knows he saw the reaction. We didn't sing his name ever since they all came out. So yeah, while he's playing for us, obviously you take it. I don't think he'll be more than a bench player for the rest of the season anyway, because we've spent 50 million on Strand Larsen, so he's going to play, and he's obviously for the future. But if he comes on, obviously, if he scores, great, we'll all cheer. If he comes on, don't boo him, but he's on the pitch, and hopefully, as you say, hopefully he'll have a point to prove to try and get some support back.
Final word goes to Lyonsy on this evening.
Well, just the last 30 seconds. What do we think of Strand Larsen? I know that we were all a bit concerned about the 48 million tag and everything else, and he's not worth it. But from what I've seen, he's more mobile, he can head the ball, and he's faster than Mateta.
Tim, your thoughts?
I think he's done really well, and the Spurs game showed how well already he's linking up with both Sarr and Wharton. I mean, I think that's all bodes well. It's good.
Yeah, I think he's looking positive. If you were a Wolves fan looking at what Strand Larsen's doing for us at the moment, you'd be gutted. Bear in mind, he's scored a single goal for them all season. I know they're in a struggling team, but
Both up front together.
yeah, what, Mateta and Strand Larsen?
Can you imagine that?
That'd be a handful.
There's one to leave. I'll tell you what, there's one to draw the line under the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Lyons is suggesting Mateta and Strand Larsen up front. But who would you drop? Who would you put them in for? Personally, I wouldn't put Mateta on the pitch, okay, unless something's really going badly. But what are your thoughts? Let us know in the chat. Look, we're going to draw a line there because it is 9 o'clock. I'm conscious I'm taking up too much of your time. Everybody out in YouTube land, thank you so much for watching. If you're listening back on the podcast, thanks ever so much for downloading us. We love it. We love it. Love it. Please keep downloading us and put us on your top of your playlist. Tim, Lizzie, great to see you, mate. And Paul, as always, can't do it without you. On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and the rest of this magnificent team, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Up the Palace. Come on against Larnaca. Good night.
Good night.
Not all.